Today, we're diving into a new way to build software called vibe coding.
What if you could build an app just by describing it in plain English?
Yep, that's vibe coding. Basically, you tell an AI what you want and it writes the code. The term comes from computer scientist Andrej Karpathy, a former AI director at Tesla. His whole idea was to just give in to the vibes and let the AI handle the nitty-gritty.
So, this is a huge shift from traditional coding, which is all about super precise instructions.
So, how does this actually work? Well, let's look at Google AI Studio. The workflow is crazy simple. You just describe your idea, the AI builds it, you tweak it. Get this, one developer made a functional dice rolling app with sound effects in just 65 seconds.
All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to talk about something that's, well, it's a huge shift in how we create software. It's a revolution called vibe coding, and it's all being powered by Google's latest AI. So let's just dive right in.
You know that feeling, right? When you get that flash of inspiration, that amazing simple idea for an app that you just know could solve a real problem, or maybe just be a ton of fun. And then, bam, reality hits. The idea is one thing, but actually building it, that means you're facing this huge mountain of technical stuff, programming languages, frameworks, APIs. For most of us, that mountain has always been the wall between a great idea and a real working application.
But what if that whole mountain just vanished? What if you could just describe your idea out loud and have it just appear? Today, we're going to explore a pretty radical new way of creating that aims to completely tear down that barrier, turning anyone with a vision into a builder.
So, this new method has this kind of perfect new age name, vibe coding. But what on earth does that actually mean? And you know, this term just blew up so fast that Merriam-Webster actually added it to its trending words list. And the definition is just beautifully simple. It's writing code by just telling an AI program what you want it to do, in plain, normal English.
The phrase itself was coined by a computer scientist and OpenAI co-founder Andrej Karpathy, and he described it as less of a technique and more of a whole philosophy, a full surrender to the AI, trusting it to handle all the complex stuff while you just focus on the vibe of what you're making.
And this is the part that's so important to get. Vibe coding is not just getting a little help from an AI, like a smarter autocomplete. No, with regular AI assistance, the developer is still in the driver's seat checking every line of code. Vibe coding is a full handover. It's about trusting the AI to get the code right without you ever having to even look at it.
Okay, so that's the theory, but how does this philosophy actually work in the real world? Well, it's basically the new engine driving the complete redesign of Google's AI Studio.
So Google basically rebuilt its entire platform around this one idea. The whole workflow is just a conversation. You start by describing your app. The AI then generates, well, everything. The user interface, the back-end logic, all of it. Then you can tweak it just by talking to the AI, and when you're happy, boom, you deploy it to the web with one click.
And the speed? It is just staggering. In one demo, a developer created a completely functional dice rolling app. It had custom colors, sound effects, the whole deal in just 65 seconds. Now, that's something that would normally take an experienced programmer hours, maybe even days to build.
So, you can imagine, with this kind of power and speed, a massive debate has kicked off in the tech world. Is this the next great revolution in software, or are we creating a whole new category of massive risk? The argument for it is pretty compelling, right? Vibe coding could democratize making software on a scale we've just never seen before, letting anyone build their ideas. It takes prototyping from weeks down to minutes, and it frees people up to focus on big, innovative ideas instead of getting stuck in the technical weeds.
But then there's the flip side. Critics are starting to warn about what Fast Company magazine has called the vibe coding hangover, that painful morning after feeling when you realize you built something way too fast and way too carelessly.
Because think about it, right? When you just hand over the keys to the AI without ever looking under the hood, you're opening the door to some major problems. The code could be a total mess and impossible to maintain later. It might have serious security holes. And over time, developers' core programming skills could just wither away.
And maybe the biggest red flag comes from, guess who? Andrej Karpathy himself, the guy who coined the term. He admitted that for a more complex project he was working on recently, he ended up just coding it by hand. Why? Because he found that the AI assistants were, in his own words, net unhelpful for the job, which really proves this new approach still has some pretty big limits.
So where does that leave us?
We've got these incredibly powerful new tools, but they've also got some very real limitations. What does the future of making software actually look like?
You know, when you look at it this way, vibe coding doesn't seem so out of the blue. It's really just the next logical step in a long trend. We've always been moving towards making things easier, more abstract, from ones and zeros to assembly language, all the way up to modern frameworks. Natural language is just the next layer on top.
And that leaves us with this one last really provocative question. If the AI is handling all the syntax, all the logic, all the implementation, maybe the most valuable skill for creators in the future won't be writing code at all. Maybe it'll just be the ability to clearly and creatively explain a vision.